decided to go with this topic, when I started to go with this project, I was really inspired by the children that I work with, and from their willingness to know more about these topics, and from their willingness to know more about the current trends that are happening, and they really have the ability to have the knowledge and to have the information for these sorts of trends that are happening in our society. For financial education and internet safety for children, even though they're not related with each other as topics, I decided to go with both of them because the recommendations and the steps that are needed to add these courses in the school curriculum are the same, and they're somehow similar, and the steps are similar for them. As an outline for today's presentation is that I will give some background information for Kosovo and Europe in spite of the financial education and internet safety. Of course, then after stating the problems, I will go with the problem statement and the aims and goals that were during this project. Then the methodology, the summary of results with a special concentration on the curriculum framework for elementary schools and government elementary schools, and also the analysis and discussion with a special emphasis on the full autonomy of schools that they have. And lastly, I would give some recommendations. So to start with, the internet safety in Europe is an issue that has been reported, and is an issue that has been investigated by many people, especially in the developed European countries. I went after the report of London School of Economics because they've been doing annual reports on this issue, and they said that 93% of 9 to 16-year-old children use internet weekly, meaning that they're online active. And after reading the reports, of course, internet not only has its benefits, but it also has its risks. So the main risks that were discovered during the report were pornography, where children are exposed to these contents, were sexting, where children, which is a new term developed, and it's when children share pictures with each other that are inappropriate ones. Cyberbullying, which is another phenomenon that has raised because of the internet connection, which is when children bully each other online. And also meeting new people, where people that they have meet online, they meet offline, and of course the risks that are accompanied with that. The report shows that the countries in Europe especially have already started to include the school curriculum in their activities, and we see with the red color that the countries, the red bold color, the countries that already have available the internet online safety in the school curriculum. And also with the blue color, we see the countries that do not have this subject available in their school curriculum, and the red dotted ones are the countries that plan to include online safety, and this shows that countries are already willing to do some alterations in the school curriculum, the ones that do not have available online safety in their curriculum. And also, this shows that the ways that online safety was included in their school curriculum. We only see a small percentage of countries that have included online safety as a separate subject, or as a part of ICT technology subject. But mostly the country says that if they want to include online safety in their school curriculum, they have to be included in some of the courses that have the same, somehow the same aims, and they teach similar stuff, such as international communication technology and other subjects that are correlated with technology. Of course, here I'm referring only to internet safety. Whereas for financial education in Europe, the report that I was referring to in the reports said that the children are very poor in terms of financial education knowledge, and also that most of the children tend to know more about financial education while they're at ages of 6 and 12, and the main knowledge that they get in regards to financial education are from parents, and this knowledge is then transmitted from from the family members. And just imagine if one family does not have somehow the good financial education, then the children will also lack on that aspect. And now I will refer to the internet safety in Kosovo as a background information from a report that was done from Center for Advanced Studies FIT, which is Children Internet Safety. It said that 93% of children are online active. And also in this report, there were the same risks that were shown in the other reports that were made in Europe, such as cyberbullying, pornography, and meeting new people. What is really interesting to know is that children from Kosovo, in comparison with the other countries of Europe, are very online active, especially in the social networks. We see the percentage that 84% of Kosovar children are active in social media, whereas the other countries have slightly lower percentages. I just need to mention that this report was done with 1,150 children aged 9 to 16, and they were from 7 different municipalities of Kosovo, which I think that somehow it's a good group to measure this phenomenon in our country. And also, in this report, it was shown that children, first of all, children that are under age of 13 do not have the permission to be active in the social media, but they're not only active, but they have a lot of friends. And if they have a lot of friends in the social media, that means that they are exposed to many risks that are accompanied with social media, such as the ones that were mentioned before. Whereas if we concentrate on the pornography, then children, it is said that 38% of children have watched pornography, and at least once a week, 41% of them, which is a very high percentage, considering the negative impacts that this phenomenon has in the development of children. And this graph shows whether they've been cyberbullied. Cyberbullied, I mentioned before, is when children bully each other online, and the negative effect that it has in the development of children are really massive, considering that children will not be able to be as engaged with the society as the ones that are not cyberbullied, and sometimes it goes to the instances where children have committed suicide due to cyberbullying. So from years 9 to 12 years old, we see that 33% of the children were cyberbullied, and these are the youngest children. These are the ones that have already started to use the internet, and they are already being at risk for cyberbullying. And also in total, we see that 28% of the children that were interviewed have been victims of cyberbullying. Whereas for financial education in Kosovo, the only information that I have is information gathered from the Ministry of Education and Science in Kosovo, where I went through all the books that they have, and there is no specific chapter for financial education. And also, the children that I work with, even though they are very willing to learn about financial education, they still lack that knowledge, and they admitted that the only knowledge that they got is from their parents. And from my point of view and from my organization's point of view, it's not very high. So consequently, the problem statement is the lack of up-to-date courses present in the curriculum in elementary schools in Kosovo. I'm just saying that financial education for children and internet safety for children are these courses that are up to date with the trends and changes that are happening in our society, and they should be included in the school curriculum. Therefore, the goals are to show the relevance of these courses and their positive impacts that they might have, to find the potential ways to include these courses in the school curriculums with a specification in the elementary schools, and to calculate the budget implications that the government and us as a society might have if we want to include these courses. So as of methodology, I'm part of these research were primary and secondary research. As a primary research, I interviewed the Ministry of Education and Science and Technology in Kosovo. I've also interviewed the project advisor of EU-ICT and e-learning in education project, which is a project of the Ministry of Education and has this goal to modernize the education in Kosovo. And also I've interviewed some of the elementary school teachers, the ones that I had the chance to work with for both topics. Also, I did some secondary research there were the documents that are already provided, the strategic plan of the Ministry of Education and also the curriculum framework, which was written and developed by the Ministry of Education, and some other case studies that other countries have already done, and I tried to, in my recommendation, I tried to use these case studies to refer to them as how to include these courses and their relevance in the development of children. To start with, I think that the main finding of this project was the curriculum framework for elementary schools in Kosovo. This is a document that sets clear objectives of how for the classes that should be taught in schools, and some of these objectives are really broad. For instance, ability to express, ability to study, ability to think creatively, ability to deal with personal and social life, and this leaves so much space for the schools to decide what sorts of subjects they want to add into their curriculum. But the importance of this curriculum framework, is that it has already started working, and it's being somehow 100 schools are being trialed with this curriculum framework and are already working with this curriculum framework. And if we want to add these up-to-date subjects, then we should just refer to this framework, and it gives a lot of space if we want to choose the current education system. As of inclusion of the courses, there are possible ways to include these courses in the school curriculum, and the Ministry of Education is really willing to go after these steps, but they say that there is no space to add internet safety or financial education as separate subjects, because they already have the percentages of how many, for instance, mathematical or how many scientific courses that should be included. But the only way, and I guess that it's a possible way, is to include these two courses in life and health and welfare and environment, which are two subjects that are already taught in the elementary schools. And there could be added separate chapters of both financial education and internet safety in these two subjects, where children will have some more information in regards to the topic. Some of the topics that can be included for internet safety are cyberbullying, social media, meeting new people offline, the ones that were met online, video games and sexting, and as a topics of financial education, of course, there could be savings, interest, what is money, what are banks, and all these other financial related issues. This graph was taken directly from the reports of the budget of the Ministry of Education, and it seemed that the ministry has somehow approximately 31 million euros to invest in the pre-university education, and these are the calculations that I did on my own, because if we want to add internet safety for children, if we want to add financial education for children in the school curriculum, of course that we have to have a firm infrastructure. By infrastructure, I'm referring to the technological infrastructure, where all of the schools that are planning to add these courses should have at least one cabinet with computer labs. And the total price that, this is of course an approximated price, is 20 million euros, 20,500,000 euros approximately. So these could be the price. These could be the price of modernizing the education in Kosovo in some way, and this could be how much the cost of it and how much it would cost the government if they want to add these. But of course, it is worth it to mention that there are many donors that they want to become a part of this project, and they are willing to give some of the funds to modernize the education in Kosovo. The main challenges of adding these courses, of course, in the school curriculum are not only the infrastructure, the poor infrastructure that the elementary schools in Kosovo have, but also there is lack of teaching staff capacities, and also not only the lack of human resources, but there's also lack of materials such as teaching materials, because currently there are no books in Albanian that refer to financial education or internet safety for children. So these are two of the main challenges that we would face as a society if we wanted to add these subjects in the school curriculum. And also there is a lack of societal awareness in regards to the relevance of these subjects, because most of the parents do not know the relevance of teaching children in regards to their internet safety, and most of the parents do not know the relevance of, I guess now I'm referring to the society, most of them do not know the importance of having a financial, educative society in our country. One of the most important aspect that was found during this research is the full autonomy that the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Education is giving to the teachers and to the school directors. By full autonomy, I'm referring to schools having authority to decide upon their subject, the subject that they want to include in schools, as long as they manage to reach the goals that are set in the curriculum framework the document that I mentioned before. And although this could be good in terms of this project and in terms of this paper, there is a lot of skepticism from the teachers and from the school directors to add these courses, since first of all they're used to the cultural and traditional way of teaching, and they're not willing to change this cultural and traditional way of teaching just to add these courses. They're just not subject to change at this stage. And also, sorry, and also there are children that teach that teach information and technology that do not have the right knowledge and do not have the right capacities to teach this subject. So the main challenge is to get these teachers away from the traditional way of teaching and train them in regards to these subjects. And also, I'm really sorry I'm having this bad. So, yeah. And also lack of materials and training. So, just to go faster.
Some water?
I'm really sorry. I'll try to go. Some of the recommendations were to enforce the education policy in Kosovo and to set the issue of adding additional courses in the school curriculum. And sorry, some of the recommendations. The first one is to enforce the education policy in Kosovo and to set the issue of adding new courses in the agenda of the government. How the government works is that the issues should be set in their agenda. And in order for these issues to be set in the agenda, the NGOs mainly should take the should build up other strategies that some of the strategies that could be inferred to the inclusion of these new courses, and of course show the relevance and the importance of having these two subjects into the school curriculum. And also there is most of the important ones is that I mentioned, the full autonomy, but how the teachers are not willing to be prone of the changes. So it should be in the hands of the society to raise the awareness of schools and the school community to show them that they have full autonomy to decide upon the subject, and of course that they will have the help of the other organizations that have been doing this work, and they will be given the materials needed to raise the awareness and also for the capacity building. And the last one is to equip educational institutions with technological infrastructure I already mentioned the financial implications that the government might have if we want to modernize the school curriculum. But of course, there are other subjects, and there are other partners that are willing to work and are willing to give the sufficient funding if we want to modernize the education system in Kosovo. I mentioned in the beginning that my main inspiration were the children that are willing to learn and are willing to get updated with these courses that are really related to their everyday life. So I believe that this project is prone to more development and to more research in spite of the education policy in Kosovo. I really thank you for being here, and I'm really sorry for the problems. So thank you.
Any questions for Gresa? Could you just explain this? Are there, outside of sort of education department at the University of Pristina, are there other institutions who are training teachers?
The main ones that are doing trainings of the teachers are the NGOs, and one of them is the one that I'm working with. The way how it goes is that we get the donations especially from the European Commission and from the embassies in Kosovo.
I wasn't thinking specifically on the two recommendations you're making for these two subject areas, but just in general, for general teacher training, not for computers and finance, but in general.
Yeah.
There's only that one department that offers a degree in education.
There is a department that offers a degree in education, but from the research is that the way that these teachers are taught and the way that they get their diplomas in is on the traditional way of teaching. Meaning that teachers nowadays that are already getting a degree in education, they still are learned how to the traditional way of teaching. They're not learned in.
None of the private universities are providing a degree in education.
The private, no, there is no private university that provides it. But I just know that Ministry of Education has already done some of the training programs for teachers, especially for the information and communication technology. But in fact, it was not as productive because they were taught for a program that is not working anymore. So, but what is really recommended is for the organizations that have already been working with these sorts of issues to be the ones that will train and will build the capacity of teachers.
What would you say is the level of interaction, say, between the instructors at A.U.K and the administrators in the ministry? Is there much interaction going on?
From as far as I know, the interaction, there is a blame game going on where there is not a responsibility of either teachers or there is not a responsibility of the government, there is not a responsibility of men, so there is not a separation of responsibilities between these parties and between these actors. So they just do not know. If you go and ask MES, they will say that the teachers are not ready. If you go and ask teachers, they will say that we do not have the infrastructure. If you go and ask the government, they will say that the Ministry of Education has already done something in regards to this, but there is no firm responsibility sharing from these parties, and that's one of the things that is mentioned in the paper as well.
Final question? Thank you very much.
Thank you.